This video will show you how to access the Adobe console and then add users to your assigned user group through the ESUCC Adobe Admin Console. During Adobe's webinars, they've had communications to say to go to adobe.com and sign in there. What I've found through a test user account is that administrators then do not have access to manage the enterprise account through that menu system. And so if you go to admin console.adobe.com instead, this will direct you to the login page you need to manage your user licenses. At the login page, do not enter in the initial login screen your credentials. Make sure you sign in with Enterprise ID first. And then the next page you will be able to enter your email address. And then when you hit tab, it will redirect you to the Nebraska Cloud IDP sign-in page. And it should look similar to this. At this point, depending upon what part of the state you're in, you will enter your school name. So if I enter in this ESUCC, and as long as it comes up in the list here, you know your district is tied to the IDP, the Nebraska Cloud IDP. If it's not, then you need to visit with your local ESU. If you receive services, if you're a private school, then you probably need to contact either myself, Craig Peterson, or Scott Isaacson at ESUCC to see how we can tie your directory into the IDP then. So if I choose that, it redirects me to my Google sign-in, because for ESUCC our directory is managed through Google. It may ask for an Active Directory sign-in depending upon your district, or some other sign-in depending upon the region that you're in. Some of the service units manage their own IDPs. So at this point I will enter my full credentials for Alvin Lee. Click Next, and it auto populates my password through LastPass, and then I can sign in with that user. At the sign in page, what I'm going to see is a menu system. What we've given is not system administrator rights, but administrator rights to school districts to be able to manage their own users. And so we've assigned product profiles. Those product profiles will include Spark also, and this is the default premium feature. We've provided that to all the districts. This particular user only has Spark listed for them because we don't have any named user accounts we can use with it. So for your school district, you also have a product profile that will look similar to this one here, but it will be for the Creative Cloud apps. So to add users, you go to Users. Most school districts, their automatic progression is to go add user here. That is not the correct method. I can see a number of users listed here that have been added through this button. And the reason I know is because they have not been assigned the other applications that they should have access to. If you assign your users through the group, they will get assigned correctly. So what you want to do is go to User Groups, find your school name, and you can do that by entering up in the search here. I've got a test group called Test ESUCC, and I can select that group then, or I could browse the list on the previous page. So when I click into that, it'll take me into the group. It's going to show me the users that are in that group currently. So this is where your named user accounts are going to be assigned, so you have to add it to this group here. If you have students that you only want to assign Spark to, my suggestion would be to create your own user group and then assign those students to that. But that group needs to have the Spark product profile listed for them. If you need help with that, you can contact myself. But what I'm going to go through here is just for the named user apps, so the Creative Cloud apps. If you go over to the three-dot menu on the right-hand side next to Add User and select Add Users by CSV, you're going to be able to upload these yourselves. And so I select that. I can download a template file. If I download a CSV template file, make sure you use the standard template. I've run into some issues where the current user list adds some additional columns, and if you try and upload that, it will error out. If you use the template, it will not include those columns. And we'll go over what those columns look like here shortly. And well, let's just go ahead and download it. And if I download it and look at the template, and I'm just going to put it in a temp folder here. Well, we'll just hit it there and we'll just open that file up. And I'll pull that over and let you look at that. What that file looks like then. It looks like this. And so these are the columns that you should have in your template file. If you have any additional columns beyond this, you need to delete those. If you've added the current list and tried to upload that and it errors out, that's why you've got extra columns there. The example that we're going to use, all users should be a federated ID, and their username should be their email address, unless possibly you're using Active Directory. I think at that point then you will use their Active Directory username. The domain is going to be your school domain that Adobe is utilizing and that we've had you validate with the DNS record, and their email address, first and last name. Make sure you put their first and last name in there. You will not be able to change this after it's been uploaded, and change that. You would have to contact one of us, and we don't want to be having to manage changing of first and last name users. So that's a template file. You would populate that. The main thing is making sure every one of your users is federated ID. You can do that very quickly by using the pull down method and so forth, and then populating the rest of the fields. You're going to save that as a CSV. I'm not going to save it here because I already have one set up, and I'm going to select that file, and I got to find it here in my Google Drive. Buried here. I should have had this up, but let's just so I have a test user ESUCC users, and this is already populated with 4 or 5 users, so I'll open that and then upload that file. And when I've uploaded that, at first I don't see anything, but I see it was successfully updated in the lower left hand corner. Just kind of a window popped up there. But if I come up to the 3-dot menu again and go back to my bulk operations, it will show that process actually, and I can either cancel that process, which I don't want to do right now, but it's processing those users. And if I continue to refresh here in a few minutes, it will show that that is completed, show me how many users have been added and so forth. So it has completed. And so now if I go back to my user group, I see those users have been added into my group. So that really concludes how to get users into the ESUCC Adobe Admin Console. If you have any questions, send me an email at craig.peterson@esucc.org. Thank you.